Hey, it's Bill DeWeese here from voice-over-training.org, and it's really cooled down quickly here in the Chicagoland area. I woke up this morning. I'm the kind of guy who waits to the very last second to kick the heat on after the change of temperature, so I had to throw in a hoodie while my heater heats up the rest of the house. But I hope this video finds you doing well, and I just wanted to take a couple of minutes to talk to you about something that's been on my mind a lot lately, and I hope you found the title of the video intriguing. You may or you shouldn't be a voiceover talent if, and the answer to that if is this: if you do not have an entrepreneurial spirit. Now, let me talk about that just a bit. And the reason this has been so heavily on my mind is I consult with and receive a lot of emails from a lot of different voiceover talent, and I really enjoy the communication and so many people seem to be so grateful for the input and the advice and the direction, the coaching and the training. But what I often see is that it stops right there. There's this sense of, wow, that's great information. Thank you. I appreciate that. And then nothing happens afterwards. And those kind of things haunt me. I always wonder, what's the breakdown there? What's happening? And I think this is simply it. I think there are essentially two camps of people when it comes to business and the voiceover business in particular, and that is those who tend to be more entrepreneurial and those who are not. Now, if you are not wired with that DNA, that entrepreneurial DNA, then you're risk averse. You look for ways to avoid risk, and particularly financial risk in your life. Those of us in the other camp who enjoy being self-employed and who do have that entrepreneurial DNA and entrepreneurial spirit, we're not so much risk averse. In other words, we don't mind taking those chances and putting things on the line. And if we don't mind failing, because we really don't consider it to be failing. We look at it as a learning lesson so that we can do it right the next time. And we tend to be people who enjoy, actually, we relish and embrace those kind of experiences because it just contributes to our success. And we enjoy taking the full responsibility for our financial lives. Now, that's not to say that if you're not an entrepreneur, that you are not a responsible person. There is certainly nothing wrong with having an employer and being in that kind of a business relationship where you commit to provide a service and certain number of hours of work to an employer in turn for a guaranteed paycheck. As well as the benefits that go along with it. That can be a very smart decision. Of course, as long as the employer stays in business, it's a very smart decision. As we now know, especially in a bad economy, it doesn't always work out that way. But I just want to encourage you in this video to take some time to be really truthful and honest with yourself. It may be that you're not really cut out to be a full-time voiceover talent where you're completely reliant on yourself for your livelihood. Now, if you have a spouse that works and has benefits, insurance, and such through that, then that makes the choice a little bit easier for you. But it may be that your best bet is to continue to be an employee, but to pursue voiceover as a part-time job or a part-time business. And then perhaps as things grow and things look more, your business really grows to where you can't not be full-time, then you can kind of wrestle with that decision. Now, when I did it, I just did it. And part of that was because, if you've heard my story, I was cut back to part-time in my job, and I really had to make some decisions. So I just decided to jump, without a safety net fully into the voiceover business. And I thrived on it. I mean, I absolutely loved it. And I made a lot of stupid mistakes early on, and I certainly had my number of failures and rejections, but for me, that fueled me. It doesn't work that way for everybody. A lot of people really can't handle a whole lot of mistakes and rejection in their life, and they seek safety. I'm just the opposite. I seek the adventure into things, and I thrive on it, and I'm energized by that. If you are as well, then you are probably more cut out to be a full-time self-employed person. That's not to say that you should quit your job today and go out and do it full-time tomorrow, but you're probably better equipped emotionally and with the DNA, the entrepreneurial DNA and entrepreneurial spirit to do this. And again, there's not either a right or wrong on either side. It's just a matter of being honest about who you are and the way you are wired. So as you think about your voiceover career, and if you find yourself hesitant to implement information and strategies that you receive, because as you think about it further, it's because you're afraid of failure, then perhaps being a full-time voiceover talent, maybe that's just not in the cards for you, and that's okay. But perhaps building a part-time voiceover business, at your own pace is while you remain employed by somebody else, so you have that guaranteed security and income. And maybe at some point you will grow more into that full-time role, but perhaps not. And again, if not, you don't beat yourself up over it. It's just, if you're wired that way, you're wired that way, and it's okay. However, if you find yourself completely exhilarated by the idea of jumping out there and going for it, you are probably cut out, at least from, again, a DNA standpoint. When I say DNA, I'm talking about that entrepreneurial spirit. And we're not talking about skill. This is skill set aside. It's a given that you have to have a certain level of skill to be able to do this. But beyond that, if you are energized by the idea of getting out there and learning and making mistakes, but learning from that and growing from that and really going for it and knowing that things may not always work out as you want, but knowing that the upside is far greater than being employed, because the potential or the income potential is exponentially better than being employed by a traditional employer, and the emotional rewards that go with it are just absolutely incredible. If you're willing to take those kind of risks, and in all honesty, I really didn't consider it a big risk. I had the confidence that I would do just fine, which obviously I did. Then again, you are probably cut out for this kind of thing. So again, I just wanted to encourage you to take the time to be honest with yourself, to evaluate yourself, and figure out where you're at, and work with your comfort level. And don't get discouraged, and don't walk away from it because you don't have that Wild West attitude to go out there and just quit your job and do this full time. No, there's nothing wrong with making a voiceover business fit within your personality, within your emotional makeup, within your DNA, so that if you're wired to go for it, go for it. If you're not, do it as you feel comfortable. But again, be honest. Assess where you're at and work within where you are at and with your level of risk aversion. Hey, I wish you all the best in your voiceover business. And whether you're looking to do this as a part-time thing or whether you're ready to go for it and build that six-figure income right now, I encourage you to stop by www.voice-over-training.org for great resources and information and helping you, empowering you to build your voiceover business. And I look forward to hearing your success stories at voiceoverexpert@gmail.com. Hey, all the best, and we'll talk to you soon.